Yeah, so for those that are listening or listening later, we don't know how this works because I don't know how to share it out to other people. Only shares out to people that are following me, and I'm not really following anyone at the moment on here. So I'm gonna have to sort that out tomorrow. This Chris, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to be doing something to get people in. But anyway, we said we've only got like half an hour because we have to go in a bit, but we was going to talk about like different sections and the knock at the door, like when you're, that knock, how people may feel, how they should react, what questions should they be asking, when a social worker turns up at the door. Do you have any advice on that?
One of the things I was going to say is I feel like we should go through the stages as they happen, just to make it easier for people to follow along. And then as we do more lives and they're recorded and whatnot, then people can go and pick and choose which one they need to listen to or watch again, according to what their current situation is. In relation to your question around advice knocking on the door, I think normally the first contact Children's Services will have with you is via a phone call from the MASH team.
Okay.
And the MASH are the team, they've got different names in different local authorities, but generally it's the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub. And the social services within that will get a referral through, and a social worker will be allocated to phone you and to find out a bit more information about what's been going on. They'll share details of the referral that they've had as well and ask you for your view and opinion. They generally ask you for consent for them to do agency checks. So that will be a conversation with whichever schools your child or children go to and any other involved professional. Within MASH sit health and education and the police.
Okay.
So they would ask for information sharing from them professionals as well. Bear in mind that if the referrals come from the police, you're likely to have that their sharing of information is likely to share other information that the police might hold on you, or in relation to somebody in your family or lives in the same household, but it won't share sensitive information.
Okay.
So say there's another adult that lives in your house and they might have a conviction, the police won't necessarily share that information as part of the referral.
Okay, so they have to...
sensitive information. So they'll have to...
So they won't share that with social services in the MASH department?
Not initially, not on an initial referral. So we're kind of going off topic now, but say say there was incident at home, say there was a domestic abuse incident at home and the police attended. They'll likely, if there's children there under the age of 18, the police will likely send that referral on to Children's Services to say, we visited the house and this is what happened. The police will share information with Children's Services about the people that were involved, but they won't share anything else because it's sensitive personal information.
Oh, so does that mean that basically, this is just me assuming, so when social services make that first contact from a police referral, they may be coming in with assumptions to what has happened because they haven't actually got a clue?
Not necessarily. So the thing is, the information is only as good as the information that you get, no matter where it's coming from or who's providing it. So if the police referral or the referral from health or education is lacking in detail, that's as much information as social services get. So I know sometimes, like if it's a third party anonymous referral and it's not come from a professional, then we would phone a parent to say, hiya, I'm calling from da da da, we've had a referral regarding such and such. I just wanted to speak to you about it. And if you say, well, who made it? They might not be able to tell you who made it because it's anonymous. They don't have that information. Equally, if it's an anonymous referral and the person doesn't have regular contact with you, the referral details might be sketchy because they don't have all of the information to be able to share everything with you.
That's
I would say,
interesting.
yes, that's the truth, because it's only as good as the information that you've got in front of you, right?
Yeah, that's interesting because I've had two referrals since I've been out of social services, and the first one was because I do candles. I thought it was so hilarious, and the second one was because I was a witness to an incident. Because I
Mm.
was a witness to an incident, it flagged up social services because there was children there. And I was like, wow, but yeah, so I hear where you're coming from, and the information actually was as good as what they got. When I look back at what was stated,
Mm.
so
It doesn't
yeah.
mean that every referral that falls in on MASH's lap they're gonna pursue or progress. There's a there's a criteria which is available on local authorities' websites as
Mm,
to how severe the concerns are, and it kind of helps you assess the level of risk to a child or children.
mm,
Um, so it's not every referral that comes through that social services will follow up on. It is the referrals that raise concerns about safeguarding and the welfare of children,
mm,
or that a family might be in need of services to help support the child and the family.
okay.
My advice is, and as an independent advocate, I'm not here to say social services is wrong or social services are right. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to do is to help support people to for them to work with social services in line with the practice and policies and guidance that is out there for everybody to see.
Yeah, so basically by working in truth.
Yeah, yeah. And
Right.
I'd also add as well that anything I say is not to be deemed as legal advice. And I would
Mm-hmm.
always suggest people see a solicitor when it comes to the legalities of anything that they're doing, not least when they're working with children's services. But in saying that, my personal view is if social services call you and say we've had a referral, speak to them,
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with them. Now, me making that phone call, I expect people to be anxious. I expect people to be worried. If they're busy or at work or in the middle of something, I expect their anxiety levels to increase. Immediately let us say I'm calling from Children's Services, because for me, I'm phoning you about the most precious beings in your whole entire life, your children.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect a level of response. However,
Mm-hmm.
be mindful that your response could actually increase the concern of the social worker.
Mm-hmm.
So just be mindful of how you have the conversation, but I would recommend people have that conversation, because it could be something that amounts to nothing. It could be something that actually, yeah, you do need some support, some services put in place, and you could obtain them by that conversation, as a result of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Equally, it could be that as a social worker, they need to step in because they believe at that point of that, when they've got that information, that a child could be at risk of significant harm. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, we all as people want to reduce or prevent that risk if we can.
Exactly. So what would happen? So I say, all right, let's say the scenario is MASH has phoned, the referrals come in, so they're concerned about the parent and now they want to arrange a visit. What's the process after that?
So they'll arrange a visit, they'll come over and so sorry, it will be allocated out of the MASH. So the MASH worker that called you won't be the person visiting. It will
Mm-hmm.
go to a second team to do that. Across the country, different teams are called different things. Um, but it'll be another social worker to come and visit. They'll go through the referral with you, find out who's in the house, and find out if you have any support needs. Try and, as part of that visit, they'll try and identify any services they can refer people to for ongoing support or for further support or additional support. And they should also obtain your written consent
Mm-hmm.
to undertake checks with other professionals.
So what if at that stage they don't have any resources to offer in your in the situation that you're in?
They're
Say,
not able, nobody's able to produce like something out of thin air. If they don't have the resources, then they don't have the resources. And I think it's well acknowledged across the country that support services are limited, and the
mm-hmm.
ones that are available, they've got such long waiting lists that sometimes that if you was going to get identified support, it might be too late for your current situation, your circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there's no resource available, there isn't any resource available. The other thing that I find frustrating when I was in frontline practice was that some services only work within certain jurisdictions, so within certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
So that precludes people from being able to access them services as well. It's
So,
unlikely
mm-hmm.
that children's services will pay or provide funding for a privately identified service.
Wow, that's sad.
Unless it would go into like its specific needs that's really going to impact the child's life. So might say something like a child with disabilities
Mm-hmm.
that literally needs this service, or but other than that, it's I think it's more disappointing that there aren't more available services which are funded for more people to access than it is that children's services won't pay for it. Because if they were to pay for every private service that a parent identified, they'd go bust.
Well, you know, see, me personally, just this is just from my personal experience. There was a agency that I was referred to, which is crazy, by the social work manager, one of the social work managers, which would have helped not just the children, it would have helped the whole family as a unit. And it cost £1,000. And the manager didn't want to pay the £1,000 to help the family. So basically, they continued with no resources and just continued to judge and label and, you know, bash us or whatever they wanted to do, until we ended up having a PLO meeting and going to court, which cost considerably, you know, much more amount than the £1,000 that they could have put in as early intervention for the family, which was just absolutely, it's crazy. It's just I still don't understand. And so my stance, and I know you're going to speak from a professional perspective, but my stance is, if children's services come in at stage 2, where you've had the MASH team, now you've had someone, a field worker, come out to see you, and they have no resources to offer you, what would be the point of continuing with children's services, and what would be the point of engaging? Because would that not now mean that they're looking for problems to find, and no solution?
I would like to think that any good social worker that sticks to the ethos of the standards of which we sign up to when we register with Social Work England would not come out looking to find problems because there isn't a resource to solve the problem. I feel like as a social worker, where yes, we fill in lots of pieces of paper, yes, we have legislation, guidance, and policies and procedures that we have to legally work to, we're also able to look within the network of the family or the network of professionals and see what resources we can pull on from there. So it may be that, I don't know, there's so many possible examples, but it may be that somebody needs a resource that, whilst children's services can't fund it, it might be part of a service tied to a children's centre, for example. Or it might be part of a service tied to health. So then it's for that social worker to think outside the box and access the other professional network, the rest of the professional network with the family, and say, I've assessed that the family would benefit from this support. We can't provide it. Is there something similar that you can provide? Or do you know of a resource or a service that the family can access?
So there's something that you mentioned, actually, and I found this a little bit of a problem just myself. It's the extended network, the family network, and the fact that professionals believe that just because you are family, that it's, you know, that's the best help and that's the best support. So in my instance, I may not have spoken to my family for 12 years, 5 years, you know, 6 years, 2 years. We may have had a falling out, and it's as though how can I put it? It's like your perspective of your own life doesn't matter no more, because these professionals have come in and stated that we need to do family tree and we need to contact your brother, your sister, your uncle, your cousin, that they don't know what's happened in the family to why you don't speak, and you may not want to announce why you don't speak to them to that social worker. And then again, you might be scared that you may lose your children, so you're just going to go ahead. And then these family members come in and they act as though they are there to support, but they may have a hidden agenda, and they start, you know, spreading rumors, spreading lies about this parent. And I'm just talking from not just my own experience, other people's experiences that I have come across, and said that family intervention, especially, you know, longer strayed, you know, family that they don't speak to, has been an actual disaster. And children's services seem to put them on a pedestal.
Okay. I mean, I can't speak for everybody's experience with children's services. I can only speak to my views on practice and what we should be doing as practice. My view is that if family are able to support, then we should access that support. I understand and I appreciate the relationships between family members might not always be positive, but equally you might have relationships that are positive and that are supportive. So I'm just thinking of an example. If we've got a parent who is has a long-term illness, and as a result their young child is missing school, we could, yes, go to the school and say, are you able to support? If the school might say, yeah, we can support for this period of time, but we can't support until the child's 12 or 13 or is able to go to school independently. So in reality, it's unlikely that children's services would then fund a service to indefinitely make sure this child can get to school.
Okay.
It's unlikely. That I think that as an example would be a good example to look at extended family. Is there an extended family member that could support with taking this child to school to make sure that the child's needs of getting an education is met?
So what happens if you don't have extended family? And I'm going to say that from just the perspective of going through DV, being on the run for almost 10 years, keeping myself to myself, not actually, because I wasn't really allowed to give out my address where I was. So I became estranged from a lot of my family. So what would be, you know, the scenario there? Because you may be coming into a family that's had DV, they've been on the run, they've kind of kept themselves away from people, but now children's services want to alert the whole family to say, this is where this person is, they need this support, while maybe putting that person in danger.
Yeah, I understand. I think any work that we do with anybody needs to be risk assessed properly. So if our actions would place somebody at an increased level of risk, then we need to be conscious of why we're taking that action, or an alternative to taking that action. Remember as well, social workers, we don't work in silo. So we've got the rest of our team and our colleagues, and we've also got our managers, their managers, and then all the way up to the director of children's services. So if the social worker sat in front of you now doesn't know that answer, and they can't think on their feet as to how they might be able to circumnavigate that risk, then they need to take it back and have a discussion with their manager to try and come up with a plan. But there's no work that any social worker should be doing. And I don't believe there's any work that any social worker does that they want to put a child at risk or a family at an increased risk. It's the complete opposite of it.
Yeah,
so I can't comment on that, I know it's yours, but on that exact scenario, because I wasn't involved and I wasn't there.
No, I can agree with you. I don't think, you know, many social workers want that situation to happen, but what I do think happens is a social worker may overlook a situation because they feel that the situation in hand is more serious. not realizing that they could be equating to a higher level risk.
Yeah,
of
and I
putting
think in that situation, if people find themselves in that situation, they should reach out to people like you and I. They should reach out to advocates. They should seek legal advice, and they should seek advice from relevant organisations that support in their specific area of need. Because maybe if another professional has that conversation, it may be heard slightly differently. Because I think sometimes parents will say, oh, I don't have any family, I don't have any support, because they almost want to force children's services into doing something.
Mm-hmm.
As we've already said, services and support, early intervention is limited.
Mm-hmm.
Funding is limited.
I
So,
absolutely agree with you there.
do
I
you know what I
agree
mean? So
that,
if the
yeah.
person discounts their family because they want to force children's services into a position, then that's raising a question as to actually, are you keeping your child's well-being at the forefront of your mind? Because if
Well,
they don't have the services or don't have the funding, we have to be more creative on how we can support people and families.
well, I'm going to agree with you on the fact that, contact us if you need any help, and we'll definitely get onto it. But I
But you're
will
going to disagree with me on.
I'm going to disagree with you that. If social services are knocking my door and they're going to tell me that there's a problem, you best be coming with resources, because I'm going to be on it. Do you know what I mean?
But
Like a
social
car
services
bomb.
are not the holder of all of them resources. Social services have to go to different places in
That's
order to gather the resources. And I think a very good social worker, if they don't know at the time of visiting you, will find out how they can access resources. But as a country as a whole, we don't have infinite resources to provide to everybody all the time. Like, look at waiting lists for like NHS counselling services.
See,
They're years.
I think that's barbaric, like someone comes to me and you need SA counsellor, I have one. You need independent social worker, I have one. You need a solicitor, I have one.
and that's
Like,
and that's great. If like some of the counselling, you could be in counselling for years. Can
mm,
somebody actually afford that ongoing cost for however many years it's going to be privately? Do you know what I mean?
well, we have options, right? So if you can't afford the paid services, we also have the NHS services. So we have options.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what
But
it's about. It's about
mhm.
having access and options. And when I say access and options, like the lady that I work with, she also works for the NHS, and she has built like a framework where she can contact NHS providers to work straight away. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like there's a long waiting list for you to get on. She's got that. But like I said, if you want like one-to-one personal, proper counselling, we're talking proper counselling, not no NHS. Great stuff, yeah. um you want proper counselling, you're going to pay for it. And
Yeah.
even myself, when I was going through children's services and they were taking up until today's date to try and get me the counselling that we're still waiting for, I had to pay for my own, and I did pay a substantial amount of money for counselling. It was
And I
worth
don't think
it.
that's because people want to restrict people from getting access to support and services. I think it is just the issue of there not being an infinite pot of money or an infinite array of services available, or even some services work in some geographical areas and not in other geographical areas. But on that note, the time is running on, and I do need to get up in a bit. But one thing that I would say in terms of social services contacting you because they've got a referral or a knock at the door, speak with them, engage with them, hear what has been said, hear what they are worried about, hear what they can provide support with, and be open, honest, and transparent with them.
Yeah.
I feel like, but I also feel like in saying that, you need to understand what children's services can do at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and what within frameworks, what is laid down within frameworks they cannot do or should not be doing at that point. The
So
other
would
caveat is there's two different processes for a child in need referral. So a Section 17 referral, that's Section 17 of the Children's Act 1989, and a Section 47, which is Section 47 of the Children's Act 89. The 47 is, we've got immediate concerns for the safety and welfare of this child. That will go down a different route.
So what would you say about when people, when they're in this situation, do you think they should maybe say to Children's Services, I'd like to get an advocate first? Do you mind me having someone to sit in on the meeting virtually?
Yeah, so you're allowed to have an advocate. So it's not even around you asking if you can have one. It's, you can say, I have no problems with you coming to do a home visit. I have no problems with you coming to my home. Just to let you know, I'm going to have an independent advocate as part of that meeting.
That is interesting, because a lot of people that have spoken to me and said that they want to get an independent advocate, they have been told by social services that they're not allowed.
I can't comment on individual circumstances or situations because I wasn't party to that conversation. But you're allowed and able to have an independent advocate with you. So I would say, don't be confrontational, or don't put up barriers when MASH are calling. Hear what they have to say, give them your response. If they want to come and visit, say, let them come and visit, but also say, I'm going to have an independent advocate with me at that visit.
Yeah.
So engage. And the reason why I say engage is because it's always, in any situation as human beings in our lives, it's always easier to understand the circumstances of someone when you have a conversation with them. If you do not have any conversation at all, and all we have is some information that has been sent or shared that potentially places a child at risk, how do we determine the level of risk? We can't just go, oh, okay, well, we'll ignore the referral then because mum said no.
So do we have to have this referral at home, or in the community?
The initial home visit.
It has to be a home visit.
I would suggest it's a home visit, because when they're coming to see you at home, they're not only exploring the concerns that were raised, they're also observing the home conditions, they're watching your interaction with the children, they're watching the children's presentation, the children's behaviour, and they're gathering information to trying to either evidence the concerns that was raised in the referral or dismiss the concerns that was raised in the referral. But if you don't engage, how do you get the concerns, in inverted commas, reduced or confirmed as not being concerned? You can't.
Makes sense. It does make sense. But again, people, my advice is make sure you got an advocate. Yeah, make sure someone's there just from the beginning, because at least you've got someone to take records, and then you can't, and you won't feel as though things have been twisted, spun, exaggerated, because you've got somebody there as a recorder. I wish I had this opportunity to have someone beside me when I was going through my case.
And that's what we will do as part of our home visit service, which you can find further details of on our website. But we will attend the meeting virtually, so which means we can virtually come to any home visit.
All over the UK, we'll be there.
So we can basically go anywhere across the UK. And the service that we will offer is, we'll have a look at what, if you send us the details of the referral, which if you ask, Children's Services should send, they may redact some of the information depending on who made the referral and where the referrals come from, but they should send you the body of what the concerns are. So if we have that, we'll attend the meeting, we'll take notes of the meeting, we'll write down what the social worker said would be the next steps, what you as a parent have agreed to be the next steps, and then after the meeting, within 3 days of us having that meeting, we will send you our write-up. So you'll have your own notes from an independent person of what the conversation was, which you can then use as you need to.
Exactly. You know, something else that come to my mind today, that I wish I did while I was under children's services was, like every 3 months ask for a SARS. Do you know what I mean? Ask for SARS, because once you come out of children's services, it is very hard to get. It's like gold dust, and then they're going to be redacting things. So I think every 3 months ask for a SARS. I'm even going to do that with my school, the kids' school. I'm going to be asking for SARS, so I know what has been written down in the background about conversations and situations, and you can forward that to your advocate as well, to help to see what's going on too. You know, so I think it's a good idea.
So I hope it's been kind of helpful. I think there's such a like plethora of information when it comes to children's services that it is often difficult to stick on one subject, one topic, because they're all systems that flow in and processes that flow into one another. But hopefully we can keep doing a series of these
Yeah, to do another one.
conversations.
Yeah,
And if
tomorrow.
people send questions and queries,
Yeah,
that's soon. If people send through questions or queries that they have, then we can maybe use that as a topic of discussion.
yeah. I
But I
think
would
it's
say engage, find out what the concerns are, speak, and let your truth be heard, and work with children's services, because I don't think that every social worker knocking on your door is there to be against you. Equally,
yeah.
if you don't engage, you will never find out
Just get yourself early help, an advocate, and
an advocate.
if you're at SIN PLO and you need a solicitor, contact me as well. I can help you with that too.
Yeah, definitely do
Also,
not go to any PLO meetings without legal representation,
yeah,
and do not sign any documents other than maybe the consent form without legal advice.
yeah. Also, you know, try not to sign those Section 20s unless you understand everything. You can also ask to speak to a solicitor about the Section 20 as well before you sign it as well. Yeah, so we're also looking for professionals as well, to come on board that want to make a difference, that want to support families in the right way. So, you know, please get in contact with us as well. So I'll see you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later, guys. Love you. Bye.